The Grand Horizon Hotel was one of the tallest buildings in the city. Its glass windows reflected the sunlight, and its marble floors sparkled under the chandeliers. The hotel was always busy with guests, but today the hallways seemed quieter than usual. The quiet did not last long. In the penthouse suite, Adam, a billionaire known for his business success and calm demeanor, was relaxing in a large armchair. The suite was luxurious with a wide window overlooking the city, and the gentle hum of the air conditioning made the room feel peaceful. Adam had just finished reading emails from international partners and was looking forward to a quiet afternoon. As he sipped a glass of water, he did not notice the shadows moving outside his door. 5 men in dark suits quietly entered the corridor. Each of them carried a small black bag, and their faces were serious, focused, and silent. They walked with purpose, their footsteps muted by the thick carpet. They were professional. They had planned this for weeks, knowing exactly where to go, what to do, and how to act. Their target was clear: Adam. The men paused outside his door, glanced at each other, and nodded slightly. Then they prepared to force it open. Unnoticed by the men, Mira, a maid of the hotel, was finishing her duties on the same floor. Mira had worked at the Grand Horizon for several years. She swept the hallway near the elevator, arranged fresh towels for the rooms, and polished the brass handles. She was cheerful, always greeting guests with a smile, but her instincts were sharp. Something about the men made her uneasy. She noticed the way they moved, the tension in their shoulders, and the small but purposeful gestures they made. Mira had seen many kinds of people come through the hotel, some polite, some rude, but these men felt different. Her heart began to beat faster. She decided to follow them quietly, keeping a safe distance. As the men reached Adam's door, they pulled out small tools to break the lock. Adam, unaware of the danger, hummed softly while checking his phone. The door handle jiggled, but he thought it was just maintenance staff. Before he could react, there was a loud click and the door started to open. Mira froze for a moment. Her mind raced. She realized that Adam was in immediate danger. She knew she had to act fast, but the men were strong and clearly trained. If she called out, they might notice her and attack immediately. Mira had no time to panic. She had to think of a plan. Mira's training from years ago came back to her. Before she became a hotel maid, she had spent time learning self-defense and security techniques. It had been a personal choice, a way to stay prepared for unexpected situations. No one knew about her skills, and she had never had to use them until now. She glanced around quickly and saw the cleaning cart she had just used. An idea formed in her mind. She pushed it slowly into the hallway so that it made a soft scraping sound. The men turned their heads in surprise, momentarily distracted. Mira saw her chance. She moved closer to the door, keeping low and silent, and prepared to act. Inside the suite, Adam finally realized something was wrong. The door was slightly open, and he saw shadows moving in the hallway. His heart skipped a beat. He didn't have time to think. His instincts told him to run. But before he could move, Mira quietly opened a side service door she had noticed earlier. It led to a small staircase that guests rarely used. "Quick, this way," Mira whispered urgently, her voice calm but firm. Adam hesitated for a moment, confused by the sudden appearance of the maid. But the fear in his eyes told Mira he understood the seriousness of the situation. He followed her without question. The staircase was narrow and dimly lit. Mira led Adam down quickly but carefully. She knew the layout of the hotel better than anyone. She had memorized every corridor, service door, and stairwell during her years of work. She had never imagined she would need that knowledge to save someone's life. Behind them, the 5 men realized what was happening. They had been trained to act fast, but they had not anticipated the intervention of a hotel maid. Their eyes narrowed, and they gave chase, moving swiftly down the main staircase that led to the lower floors. Mira's mind was focused. She counted steps, checked corners, and planned each turn. She guided Adam through a hidden door that led to a service corridor, one that hotel guests never used. The corridor was narrow and dim, but it gave them an advantage. Mira could move silently, while the men struggled to find the correct path. Adam tried to catch his breath as they moved, but he was amazed at Mira's calmness. "How do you know where to go?" he whispered, struggling to keep up. Mira only smiled slightly and shook her head. "Just trust me," she said. "We will be safe if we stay quiet and fast." They reached another door that led to the emergency stairwell. Mira pushed it open and they stepped inside. The stairwell smelled faintly of cleaning supplies and old paint, but it was empty. Mira led Adam down several flights of stairs, avoiding the main lobby completely. She knew the men would search there first. As they descended, Mira's mind raced. She thought about what might happen if the men caught up. She had to be ready to defend them both if necessary. She tightened her grip on the small flashlight she had taken from her cart, just in case. The corridor was long and every step echoed slightly. She used the echoes to judge the distance of the men. Adam looked at her with wide eyes. "You've done this before?" he asked quietly. Mira shook her head. "No, but I know how to stay calm. That is what matters now." She pushed him forward, deeper into the stairwell and closer to safety. The 5 men split up, trying to anticipate where Mira and Adam might go. Mira smiled inwardly. She had planned for this possibility. The maze of corridors, service doors, and stairwells was confusing, and the men would waste time trying to find the correct path. Every second counted. Finally, Mira led Adam to a small maintenance room on the basement floor. The room was filled with cleaning supplies, tools, and old furniture. She quickly moved a few heavy objects to barricade the door. Adam pressed himself against the wall, panting heavily. Mira checked the lock and the small windows. The men would have to find another way in, and by the time they did, hotel security might arrive. Adam looked at Mira with astonishment. "Who are you, really?" he asked. "You saved my life. I don't even know how to thank you." Mira only shrugged. "I just did what I had to do," she said softly. "No one deserves to be hurt if it can be prevented." For a moment they were silent. Mira listened carefully. She could hear footsteps echoing above, but the men seemed confused and unsure where to go next. She had created just enough time for them to catch their breath and plan the next move. Adam sat down on a wooden crate, still amazed. "I thought maids just cleaned rooms," he said with a small laugh, though there was no real humor in his voice. Mira smiled faintly. "There is more to people than what you see," she replied. "Sometimes skills are hidden until they are needed." The basement room was quiet for now, but Mira knew it would not stay that way for long. She had to stay alert. The men were persistent, and she had no idea what they might do next. But she was ready. She had never let fear control her, and she would not start now. Mira glanced at Adam and nodded. "We will get through this," she said firmly. "Just stay close and follow my lead." Adam nodded, placing his trust in the brave maid who had stepped in to protect him. Outside, the men continued to search, unaware that their target was already a few floors below, safe for the moment. Mira's heart beat steadily. She knew this was only the beginning, and the real challenge was yet to come. For now, though, Adam was alive, and that was enough. Mira had turned an ordinary day into a battle of courage, and she had no intention of letting it end any other way. The basement of the Grand Horizon Hotel was quiet, but Mira knew the calm would not last long. The men were still searching, and each passing second brought them closer. She glanced at Adam, who was catching his breath. His eyes were wide, filled with both fear and amazement. "You need to stay calm," Mira said softly, her voice steady. "Panicking will only make it harder for us." Adam nodded, trying to slow his heartbeat. I don't understand how you know what to do," he said. Mira shook her head. "I can't explain everything now. We have to move." She scanned the room quickly. There were service doors leading to hallways, pipes running along the walls, and small storage closets. Mira's mind worked fast, calculating every possible route. She had explored these corridors countless times while working, but now she was using her knowledge for survival. Adam watched her carefully.
"Have you
"Ever done anything like this before?" he asked. Mira hesitated, then shook her head again. "Not exactly, but I trained in self-defense and observation a long time ago. I never thought I would need it here." Adam's mouth opened in surprise. "You mean you could handle people like them?" Mira gave a small smile. "I hope I don't have to, but I am ready if I must." The first man appeared at the stairwell above, peering down. His sharp eyes searched the shadows, looking for any sign of movement. Mira pressed herself against the wall and pulled Adam down further, keeping him hidden behind a large cart filled with old cleaning supplies. The man lingered for a moment, then shrugged and moved back upstairs. Mira exhaled quietly. They were still not safe, but they had time to plan their next move. She decided they could not stay in one place. The basement was large but open in many sections. If the men found a way in, they would be trapped. Mira led Adam toward a service corridor that connected to the kitchen and delivery areas. It was rarely used, and the faint hum of refrigerators and freezers provided a cover for their movements. "Keep low and follow me exactly," Mira whispered. Adam nodded, trusting her completely. He followed behind her, careful not to make a sound. Mira had trained herself to move quietly, noticing every creak in the floorboards, every echo in the hallway. Every detail mattered. As they reached the kitchen area, Mira paused. There were several doors leading outside, but some were alarmed, and others led to dangerous areas like the loading dock or mechanical rooms. She carefully opened a small service door that led to the hotel's underground garage. "This way," she said, motioning for Adam to follow. The garage was dimly lit, with rows of parked cars casting long shadows. Mira knew the men would not expect them here, and she felt a small surge of hope. She guided Adam along the side of the cars, keeping him out of sight. They moved swiftly but cautiously, knowing one wrong step could reveal them. Suddenly, a noise echoed through the garage. A stack of crates had shifted, making a soft clattering sound. Adam froze, and Mira placed a hand on his shoulder. "Stay calm," she said. "It's just the crates. Don't make a sound." Adam's fear mixed with admiration. He had seen brave people before, but he had never met anyone like Mira. She moved with such confidence, such focus, that he could not help but feel safe in her presence. She noticed his gaze and gave him a brief, encouraging smile, then returned to guiding them forward. They reached a stairwell that led to a service elevator. Mira pressed the button and the elevator doors opened silently. "We will take this to the ground floor," she said. "From there we can find an exit or a safe room." Adam followed her in, pressing himself against the wall. Mira controlled her breathing, listening for any sounds of pursuit. As the elevator descended, Mira whispered instructions. "If anyone comes, stay behind me. Do exactly as I say." Adam nodded again, fully aware that his safety depended on her. He had no idea who these men were or why they wanted him, but he knew that Mira's skills were their only chance. The elevator doors opened to a quiet corridor on the ground floor. Mira peeked outside. The lobby seemed normal, but she could sense movement from the corner of her eye. The men were searching in small groups, still unaware of their exact location. Mira knew they could not risk running through the main lobby. Too many witnesses could make things dangerous. Instead, she led Adam toward a small side exit that opened into a secluded service alley behind the hotel. It was narrow and enclosed by high walls, providing cover from anyone looking from the street. Mira moved quickly, checking every corner before proceeding. Adam followed, staying low and silent. Suddenly, one of the men appeared at the alley entrance, blocking their path. He had a determined look on his face. Mira froze for a brief second, then reacted. She grabbed a nearby metal cart and pushed it toward him with a sudden burst of speed. The man stumbled backward, surprised by the unexpected force. "Go!" Mira shouted. Adam ran, his heart pounding. They darted down the alley, using crates and dumpsters for cover. Mira's mind raced, calculating every step. The man recovered quickly, but Mira had already planned their route. They reached a hidden door that led back inside the hotel, into another seldom-used corridor. Once inside, Mira barricaded the door with heavy cleaning supplies and boxes. Adam pressed himself against the wall, panting heavily. "You're amazing," he said, his voice full of awe. "I've never seen anyone move like you." Mira smiled faintly. "I just do what is necessary," she replied. "We still have to be careful." "They are not giving up easily." Adam nodded. He could feel the tension in the air, but Mira's calmness was reassuring. He had never trusted anyone so completely in his life, yet here he was, following her lead. Mira glanced at him briefly. "We need to stay one step ahead," she said. "I know this hotel better than anyone, and I will use every bit of that knowledge to keep you safe." The men regrouped in the lobby, confused by the maze Mira had created. They communicated through small earpieces, trying to coordinate their search. Mira listened from behind the barricade, noting their voices and movements. She smiled slightly. They were skilled, but they underestimated her. After a few tense minutes, Mira decided they could move again. She led Adam toward the hotel's service elevator, a different one from the last to avoid any predictable path. They stepped inside, hearts pounding, and descended to the basement again, using the maze of corridors to their advantage. Adam tried to speak, but Mira gently raised a hand. "Not now. Stay focused. We will talk once we are safe." He nodded silently, trusting her completely. Mira's mind was focused on strategy, anticipation, and survival. She was ready to use every skill she had learned, every instinct she had honed to protect Adam. The basement corridor stretched before them, dimly lit and filled with shadows. Mira led Adam through a hidden door, past storage rooms and maintenance areas. She checked corners, listened for footsteps, and made sure they were not being followed. Finally, they reached a small utility room. Mira barricaded the door and motioned for Adam to sit. "We have a moment," she said quietly. "We need to think about our next move carefully. They are persistent, but we have the advantage of surprise." Adam looked at her with gratitude and amazement. "I can't believe you saved me," he said. Mira smiled faintly. "It's not about belief. It's about action. You survive by noticing details, staying calm, and making smart moves. That is what I am doing." For the first time in the day, Adam felt a glimmer of hope. Mira's courage and skill gave him confidence that they could make it out safely. Mira checked the corridor one last time. The men were still searching, but they were being led in circles, confused by the clever routes Mira had chosen. Mira whispered, "We will get through this, Adam. Trust me. Stay calm, stay quiet, and follow my lead." Adam nodded, feeling a new sense of determination. With Mira by his side, he knew that they had a chance. Outside, the men continued to search, unaware that their target was already hidden and safe for the moment. Mira's heart beat steadily. She knew the chase was far from over, but she had proven something important. Courage, skill, and intelligence could overcome even the most dangerous threats for now. Adam was alive, and Mira had shown that even a quiet, ordinary maid could become a hero when it mattered most. The basement corridors of the Grand Horizon Hotel were quiet once again, but Mira knew it was only temporary. The 5 men had split up, searching in different directions, still unaware of the clever path she had taken with Adam. She glanced at him, seeing the exhaustion in his eyes. His breathing was heavy, and his suit was slightly wrinkled from the hurried escape. "Stay close," Mira whispered, taking his hand and guiding him further down a narrow hallway. "We are not safe yet." Adam nodded, trusting her completely. Every step they took was measured, deliberate. Mira had memorized every corridor, stairwell, and service door in the hotel. She moved with quiet confidence, using the shadows for cover. They reached a junction where 3 hallways intersected. Mira paused, listening carefully. She could hear faint voices from above, the men calling to each other through small earpieces. Their frustration was clear. They had expected Adam to be trapped or cornered, but Mira had used the hotel's layout to her advantage. "Which way now?" Adam whispered, his voice tense. Mira pointed to the left, a corridor that led to an old storage area. "This way. It's narrow, but it will slow them down if they follow us. I know a small service door at the end that leads to a hidden staircase." Adam followed without question. He felt safe with her, even in the face of danger. As they moved, Mira explained quietly, "You have to be aware of every sound. Footsteps, doors, even echoes can tell us where they are." Adam nodded, trying to focus. His mind raced with questions. Why were these men after him? Who had sent them? And how did Mira know so much about the hotel? But he forced himself to stay silent, knowing it was not the time for answers. Suddenly, they heard footsteps coming from the corridor behind them. Mira pressed Adam against the wall and held up her hand. 2 men appeared, moving quickly, scanning the hallway. Mira's eyes flicked to a nearby utility closet. She pulled Adam inside just as the men passed, their eyes sharp but oblivious to the hidden door. Mira held her breath, listening as the men continued down the hallway. Once they were out of sight, she exhaled quietly. "We can't stay here long," she whispered. "They will find us if we hesitate." Adam nodded, silently following her lead. They moved again, this time through the small service door Mira had mentioned. It led to a hidden staircase that twisted down several floors. The stairwell was dimly lit, but Mira knew it like the back of her hand. She counted each step carefully, ensuring they remained quiet. Adam stumbled once, but she caught his arm and guided him steadily downward. As they reached the bottom, they found themselves in a storage room filled with old furniture and cleaning supplies. Mira quickly moved a few crates to block the entrance, creating a temporary barrier. Adam leaned against a stack of boxes, breathing heavily. "You are incredible," he said softly, his voice filled with admiration. "I have never met anyone like you." Mira shook her head, a small smile on her lips. "I am just doing what is necessary. Courage is not about being fearless, it's about acting despite fear." Adam nodded, taking in her words. He felt a new sense of respect and gratitude. Mira was not just brave, She was intelligent, resourceful, and calm under pressure. He realized that without her, he would not have made it this far. Mira took a moment to think. They could not stay in the storage room for long. The men were persistent and would not give up. She noticed a small service elevator tucked in the corner. It was rarely used and would take them down to the basement parking lot, a safer place to plan their next move. They entered the elevator cautiously. Mira pressed the button for the lowest level and held Adam close to keep him calm. As the doors closed, she listened for any sounds of pursuit. The men were still above, searching, but they were being misled by the false trails Mira had created. The elevator descended slowly, its soft hum echoing through the small space. Mira focused on every detail, the slight vibrations under her feet, the faint noises from the hotel above, even the smell of the air. She knew the basement parking lot would be easier to navigate, with more cover and options for escape. When the doors opened, Mira led Adam through a row of parked cars, keeping them hidden in the shadows. The lot was quiet, and the faint light from overhead lamps created long, twisting shadows. Mira moved with precision, checking every corner before proceeding. Adam followed closely, his trust in her absolute. Suddenly, a car alarm went off in the distance, startling both of them. Mira froze, listening. The men must have triggered it accidentally, she thought. She knew they would be cautious now, giving them a small window to move. "This way," she whispered, guiding Adam toward a service exit that led to a quiet street behind the hotel. The street was narrow and lined with tall buildings, providing cover from anyone looking from above. Mira moved quickly, using dumpsters and parked delivery trucks to shield their movements. Adam's heart raced, but he felt safer with Mira leading the way. Halfway down the street, Mira stopped behind a large delivery truck. "We need to wait a moment," she said quietly. "They may check the garage or the back doors. We have to be patient." Adam nodded, trying to steady his breathing. He realized that every second Mira waited, every careful movement she made increased their chances of safety. After a few tense minutes, Mira signaled for him to move. They continued down the street, keeping low and quiet. Mira's mind was focused on strategy, calculating each step, anticipating where the men might go next. She had created a trail of confusion, but she knew they could not relax yet. As they reached the end of the street, Mira spotted a small side entrance into another section of the hotel, one that led to offices and rarely used meeting rooms. "This way," she whispered. Adam followed, trusting her judgment completely. Inside, they moved through quiet hallways, avoiding security cameras and doors that were locked from the inside. Mira's knowledge of the hotel layout was their greatest advantage. She led Adam into a small office with a window that overlooked the city park. It was a hidden space few people ever noticed. Adam leaned against the desk, catching his breath. "I still can't believe you planned all of this so quickly," he said, shaking his head. Mira smiled faintly. "It's not planning. It's preparation. I have learned to notice small details and use them when needed." Outside the window, the men were searching in the area they expected the duo to be. Mira watched them from a distance, noting their frustration and confusion. They were skilled, but they underestimated her intelligence and knowledge of the hotel. "We need a longer-term plan," Mira said. "We can't keep moving blindly. We need to find a safe place to wait until they are caught or leave." Adam nodded, realizing that Mira's calmness and intelligence were their best weapons. Mira took a deep breath, scanning the office for useful items. She noticed a few communication devices and old security monitors. With a small amount of work, they could use them to observe the men and plan their next move. Mira's mind raced with possibilities, each step calculated to keep them ahead of danger. Adam watched in awe as Mira moved quickly and efficiently, her eyes sharp, her movements precise. He had always thought of himself as capable, but in that moment he realized how much he relied on her skills and courage. Mira was more than a maid. She was a protector, a strategist, and a hero in her own right. For now, the immediate danger had passed, but Mira knew this was only a temporary reprieve. The men were persistent, resourceful, and determined. She had bought them time, but the real challenge was still ahead. Adam felt a mixture of fear and admiration, knowing that without Mira, he would not have survived this long. Mira whispered, "We will get through this. Stay calm, follow my lead, and trust your instincts as I guide you." Adam nodded, feeling a new sense of determination. He had placed his life in her hands, and for the first time, He realized that courage, intelligence, and preparation could turn even the most ordinary person into a hero. Outside the hotel, the city continued unaware of the drama unfolding in its shadows. Mira and Adam had navigated the dangers, but the chase was far from over. Every step, every turn, and every decision would determine their survival. For now, though, they had survived another round, and Mira had proven that even a quiet, ordinary maid could outsmart highly trained men when it mattered most. The office room was quiet, dimly lit by the city lights that filtered through the blinds. Mira scanned the room, her mind racing. The men who had chased them were skilled and determined, but she knew the hotel better than anyone. For the first time, she saw an opportunity, not just to escape, but to turn the tables. Adam leaned against the desk, exhausted but alert. "What do we do now?" he asked softly. Mira shook her head. "We can't just wait for them to find us. We need to act. I can use the security system to our advantage." She moved to a small security monitor in the corner of the office. It showed several areas of the hotel, including the hallways, stairwells, and service corridors. Mira studied the screen carefully, noticing the movements of the 5 men. They had split up, covering different floors, but their confusion was visible. They were skilled, yes, but Mira had led them on a path full of false trails. Adam watched her work, impressed by her focus. "How are you doing all this so fast?" he asked. Mira smiled faintly. "It's not speed. It's planning and observation. You see what others miss and you act before they know what's happening." She took a small phone from her bag and made a quiet call to the hotel security under the guise of a routine alert. "There are intruders in the West Wing," she said calmly. Her voice was professional, confident, and completely believable. Within minutes, she saw security officers moving quickly toward the reported area. Mira turned to Adam. "We just bought ourselves time, but now we can make the next move. The men will be distracted by security. They will not expect an attack." Adam nodded, still amazed at her courage and intelligence. The 5 men had no idea that their target was already several floors below and completely hidden. Mira used the security monitors to track them as they searched the areas they believed Adam and Mira were in. Every time they moved, she updated security, keeping the men off balance and confused. "You've really thought of everything," Adam said quietly. Mira shook her head. "No, I'm just using what I know. The men are smart, but they are following patterns, predictable paths. I just make sure they don't find us." After a few tense minutes, Mira decided it was time to take a more aggressive approach. She led Adam to a small stairwell that connected to a rarely used service corridor. From there, they could reach the lobby without being seen. She checked the hallway carefully and moved forward, guiding Adam silently. The first man appeared at the entrance of the corridor, but Mira was ready. She ducked behind a large pillar and motioned for Adam to stay low. Using a small cleaning cart, she created a distraction. The man stumbled slightly, his attention drawn to the noise. Mira and Adam slipped past him, moving swiftly and silently. Once in the lobby, Mira noticed that the hotel's main entrance was crowded with guests. They could not risk being seen. Instead, she guided Adam toward a small side exit that led to a hidden alley behind the hotel. The alley was narrow, with high walls on either side, providing perfect cover. Adam's heart pounded as he followed Mira. "I can't believe you're leading us through all this," he whispered. Mira smiled faintly. "Believe it. Focus on moving and staying quiet. The rest is up to me." As they moved down the alley, Mira saw the men regrouping near the main lobby. They were angry and frustrated, unsure of where Adam had gone. Mira knew they would be distracted and disorganized for a while. This was the moment to act. She spotted an old security office with a side entrance to the alley. It was rarely used, and the small window overlooked the path the men were taking. Mira opened the door and led Adam inside quietly. She set up a few simple devices, connecting old security monitors to observe the intruders' movements. From the office, Mira had a clear view of the men. They were still searching, but now Mira had the advantage. She called security again, giving them directions to intercept the men. Within minutes, hotel officers appeared in the hallways surrounding the intruders. The 5 men were caught completely off guard. Adam watched in disbelief. You trapped them," he said, his voice full of amazement. Mira nodded. "Not trapped exactly. They trapped themselves by following predictable paths. We just gave security the information they needed." Through the monitors, Mira saw the men struggling as security approached. They tried to escape, but the hotel staff had blocked every exit. The men realized their plan had failed. Mira had outsmarted them using patience, observation, and strategy. Adam turned to Mira, admiration shining in his eyes. "I don't know how to thank you," he said. Mira smiled faintly. "You don't need to. I did what anyone should do. Protect someone in danger if you can." After the men were apprehended, Mira and Adam moved out of the office. The hotel was returning to its normal rhythm, and most guests were unaware of the drama that had just unfolded. Mira led Adam to a quiet lounge area where they could rest and catch their breath. Adam looked around, still in awe. "I can't believe all this happened in a hotel I've visited dozens of times," he said. Mira laughed softly. "The hotel seems normal to everyone else, but every building has secrets. You just have to know where to look." Adam shook his head, smiling. "I never imagined a maid could be so amazing." Mira shrugged. "I am just a person who learned to see what others miss. It doesn't matter who you are or what job you have. What matters is what you do when it counts." They sat quietly for a moment, listening to the faint sounds of the hotel returning to normal. Mira glanced at Adam. "We are not completely safe yet," she said. "But the immediate threat is gone, thanks to your cooperation and my planning. We can relax a little now, but we must remain aware." Adam nodded, realizing how much he had relied on her courage and skill. "I feel like I've learned something important today," he said quietly. "Courage isn't just about fighting. It's about thinking, planning, and acting when it matters." Mira smiled. "Exactly. That is why we survived. Not just strength, but intelligence and awareness." Outside, the captured men were being escorted by security to waiting vehicles. They would face consequences for their actions, but Adam didn't think about revenge. He was grateful to Mira, who had not only saved his life, but had also demonstrated the power of calmness, courage, and clever thinking. As they prepared to leave the office, Adam turned to Mira. "I owe you more than I can ever say," he said. Mira shook her head. "You don't owe me anything. Just remember to pay attention, act wisely, and value people who help you when you are in danger." Adam nodded, understanding that Mira's lesson went beyond survival. It was a lesson in trust, courage, and awareness. He had met many skilled people in his life, but none had impressed him as much as Mira. Together, they left the office, moving through the hotel quietly. The staff had begun their routines again, unaware of how close the billionaire had come to danger. Mira had turned an ordinary hotel day into an extraordinary story of courage and intelligence. As they walked toward a safe exit, Mira glanced at Adam. "From now on, you should know that appearances can be deceiving. People are often more capable than they seem," she said. Adam nodded, smiling. "I've learned that today. You are living proof." For Mira, the day had proven something important as well. Even as a hotel maid, her knowledge, skills, and courage had the power to save lives. She had acted without hesitation, using her intelligence and observation to outsmart highly trained men. And now the immediate danger was over. Adam looked at her once more, admiration in his eyes. "I will never forget what you did," he said. Mira smiled. "I don't need you to. Just remember it, and act wisely when your moment comes." Outside the hotel, the city continued unaware of the drama that had unfolded. Mira and Adam had faced danger, uncertainty, and fear, but they had emerged stronger, smarter, and alive. The 5 men had failed, outsmarted by a quiet, ordinary maid who had proven that courage, intelligence, and preparation could overcome even the most dangerous threats. For the first time since the chase began, Mira allowed herself a small moment of relief. They were safe for now. The rest of the story, she knew, would unfold carefully, step by step. Adam had learned an important lesson, and she had proven that heroism can come from the most unexpected places. The day had turned completely, but one thing was clear. Mira's bravery and intelligence had changed everything, not just for Adam but for herself as well. She had discovered that ordinary people can do extraordinary things when it truly matters. The city lights flickered through the tall windows of the Grand Horizon Hotel as the night settled in. For most guests, it had been an ordinary evening. But inside, Mira and Adam had just survived an extraordinary ordeal. Adam, the billionaire, was still catching his breath. His suit slightly wrinkled from the escape, while Mira, calm as ever, was already thinking 2 steps ahead. "You really saved my life." Adam said quietly, still trying to process everything. He looked at Mira, his eyes filled with gratitude. I've met so many people in my life, but no one has ever shown courage like you did tonight. Mira shook her head with a soft smile. I didn't do it for thanks. I did it because it had to be done. If someone is in danger, we act. That is all. Adam nodded, but he could not hide the admiration in his eyes. You're not just a maid, he said. You're a hero. You are clever, brave, and calm when it matters most. I don't know how to repay you. Mira laughed softly. Repayment is not important. The important thing is that you are safe. The hotel staff, meanwhile, had returned to their normal routines. Most were unaware of the danger that had nearly unfolded in their corridors. The 5 men who had attempted to capture Adam were already being taken away by the authorities, and the hotel security team had handled the situation efficiently, thanks to Mira's careful planning and guidance. Adam glanced around the hotel lobby, then back at Mira. You know, most people would never believe that a maid could outsmart highly trained men, he said. Mira smiled faintly. Most people underestimate others because they only see what is in front of them. Skills, courage, and intelligence are often hidden until they are needed. Adam shook his head in amazement. I have never met anyone like you. You changed everything today, not just for me, but for everyone here. The hotel, the guests, all of us owe you a debt we cannot repay. Mira simply nodded, her humility evident. I just did what I had to do. That is all. After a moment of silence, Adam gestured toward the hotel elevator. Come with me, he said. I want to show you something. Mira followed, curious but cautious. The elevator doors closed and they descended to the ground floor. Adam led her to a small, quiet lounge area, away from the main lobby. I know you don't seek attention, Adam said, but you deserve recognition for what you've done, not just as a maid, but as someone who saved lives. Mira shook her head. I don't need recognition. The satisfaction of knowing that you are safe is enough. Adam smiled. Still, I want to help you. I want to make sure your courage is not overlooked. I have an idea. He gestured toward a small table where he had arranged a quiet meeting with a few hotel managers. He explained Mira's actions without revealing too much, highlighting her intelligence, quick thinking, and bravery. The managers listened in awe. They had always respected Mira as a diligent, hard-working maid, but they had no idea of the skills she possessed. Adam described how she had guided him through the maze of corridors, evaded the 5 men, and cleverly used the hotel's security system to capture them. By the end of the meeting, Mira had been offered a promotion, not just a new title, but recognition of her skills and intelligence. She was hesitant at first, not seeking fame or attention, but Adam insisted. You have proven that ordinary people can do extraordinary things. You deserve to be recognized, and I will make sure the hotel supports you. Mira smiled softly. She had never sought praise or acknowledgement, but she felt a quiet sense of pride. Her courage and skill had been tested, and she had passed. More importantly, she had kept Adam safe. That was the reward she valued most. After the meeting, Adam and Mira walked through the hotel quietly. The night was calm now, the chaos of the chase behind them. Adam looked at Mira, admiration shining in his eyes. You showed me something important today, he said. Courage isn't just about fighting. It's about staying calm, thinking ahead, and using your skills wisely. You are a perfect example of that, Mira nodded. Courage is not something people are born with. It is something people choose to show when it matters. Everyone has it inside them, but not everyone acts on it. Adam smiled, understanding the wisdom in her words. He realized that Mira's bravery was not about being fearless, but about acting despite fear. The hotel seemed ordinary to the other guests, unaware of the night's events. But for Adam and Mira, it had been life-changing. Adam now saw Mira in a new light, not just as a maid, but as a protector, a strategist, and a hero. Mira, meanwhile, felt a sense of fulfillment. Her hidden skills had proven their value, and she had made a real difference. As they reached the hotel exit, Adam paused. I want you to know, Mira, that I will never forget what you did. Your courage, your intelligence, your calmness under pressure, it saved my life. Mira smiled faintly. I don't need you to remember me. Just act wisely, and remember that ordinary people can do extraordinary things when it matters most. Outside, the night was peaceful. The city lights shimmered on the streets, and the hotel stood tall and quiet. Mira and Adam walked side by side, the bond of trust and respect between them now stronger than ever. Adam looked at her thoughtfully. I feel like I've learned more today than in all my years of business. Bravery isn't about wealth or power. It's about action, intelligence, and heart. You showed me that. Mira nodded. Exactly. The world is full of ordinary people, but anyone can be extraordinary if they choose to act when it matters. That is what I did for you. As they reached the hotel's garden area, Mira stopped. This is where our journey ends for now, she said. The danger is gone and you are safe. But remember, safety is something people must create for themselves and others. Courage, awareness, and skill are the keys. Adam looked at her with deep respect. I will never forget this day. You have changed how I see people and how I see courage. Thank you, Mira. Mira smiled, a quiet sense of satisfaction in her eyes. You're welcome. Just remember the lesson. Ordinary people can do extraordinary things, and sometimes they must. They stood there for a moment looking at the city skyline. The night was calm, but the memory of danger and courage lingered. Mira had shown that heroism could come from the most unexpected places, and Adam had learned the true meaning of bravery, intelligence, and trust. As the night grew deeper, Mira returned to her duties, her calm and professional demeanor intact. But now everyone who knew her or would come to know her story would see her differently. She was no longer just a maid. She was a hero, a protector, and a woman whose skills, courage, and intelligence had changed a billionaire's life. Adam, meanwhile, left the hotel that night with a new perspective. He had experienced fear, uncertainty, and danger, but he had also witnessed extraordinary courage. Mira had shown him that true bravery was not about wealth, power, or status. It was about the choices people make when it truly matters. The Grand Horizon Hotel returned to its normal rhythm. Guests came and went, unaware of the drama that had unfolded within its walls. But for Adam and Mira, the events of the night would remain unforgettable. The story of courage, intelligence, and heroism had been written, not in headlines or newspapers, but in the actions of a quiet, ordinary maid who had become an extraordinary hero. Adam knew he would never see anyone the same way again. Mira had shown him that appearances could be deceiving, and that ordinary people often carried hidden strengths that could change the course of events. He left the hotel that night with gratitude, respect, and a deep understanding of what true courage meant. Mira, on the other hand, returned to her routine with a quiet smile. She had acted without hesitation, used her intelligence, and protected someone in danger. She had proven that even a humble, ordinary person could perform extraordinary deeds, and she had done it all without seeking recognition or reward, except for the knowledge that she had made a real difference. The hotel lights dimmed as the night deepened. Mira continued her work, calm, focused, and quietly proud. Adam's life had been saved, and the men who had tried to harm him had been caught. Justice had been served, and courage had been proven victorious. For Mira, it was a reminder that even in ordinary lives, extraordinary moments could arise. And when they did, true courage, intelligence, and skill could shine through, changing the world in ways no one could have imagined. The city slept peacefully, unaware that the night had witnessed an act of heroism that would never be forgotten by those who had lived it. Mira's bravery, quick thinking, and intelligence had saved a life, turned the tables on danger, and shown that ordinary people could achieve the extraordinary.